Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Buns. Welcome back to the Road to Gladiator. Tonight, for the very first time, I got to try out a composition that I've been very much looking forward to playing on my Elemental Shaman. These were some games that I played off stream a couple of nights ago. I got to try out LSD, not the hallucinogen, rather Lock Shaman Druid. And in this case scenario, we were playing Affliction Warlock, Elemental Shaman, and Restoration Druid. Extremely fun comp, a very strong comp for any of you guys that are playing any of the three classes. Very strong comp. You get your dots rolling, and the Elemental Shaman brings in that single target pressure, which helps open up kill opportunities on pretty much anyone in the match. Ton of fun, had a great time playing with it, and tonight I'm going to go through and give a little bit of a breakdown and commentary over a few of the matches that I played to give you guys a better understanding for how the pace of the games go and what you guys can expect in the matchup. Let's jump into it, guys. For our first matchup of the night, we're playing against Arms Warrior, Ret Paladin, Mistweaver. Now, it's important at the start of the matchup here that I provide some coverage for my Lock's gate to go down, so I throw out my Earth Grab totem to root both melee, and my Lock is able to get off his gate. In this matchup, we want to get pressure on all three targets, but mainly the DPS, creating a rot pressure and giving us opportunities to kill any of the DPS. So immediately I get dots rolling and use Ice Fury and start using my burst into this Ret Paladin, and we're basically going to go off of where enemy teams are positioned. So I go out here and I land a shear onto the Mistweaver monks, and I'm putting myself in between their healer and the Mistweaver monk so that I'm able to land some CC. Now we're able to get the Mistweaver's trinket there on the bash and the hex, which means that the next time around we will be able to land some CC and help us land a kill. So at this point, I'm just generating pressure onto the warrior. The in cap goes onto me from the Mistweaver monk, so he's going to be able to get some heals off. I do land a shear onto the Vivify, and our warlock's doing a good job at pulling their melee out away from the pillar and away from the Mistweaver monk to give myself and the druid opportunities to land CCs. I'm going to extend our opportunity by landing a punt there and putting the melee out into the middle. I'm able to then get a Earthbind down and land a hex onto this Mistweaver, allowing us a window to get pressure onto the Ret Paladin and possibly force bubble here. Now, their Mistweaver monk is able to get out of CC and recover on his melee, so we're going to have to buy ourselves some time here. So our Warlock's going to use Gate. I use my Stormkeepers offensively as they're stacked, and it's really good when the enemy team is stacked to use your Stormkeeper and use Chain Lightning. Especially when you have Lightning Rod on the target, you're going to get huge damage from all of the AoE pressure of the Chain Lightning. Now at this point, we're trying to force a kill or potentially bubble. I'm putting my efforts onto the warrior as he's out in the middle rather than chasing the paladin, which would only force bubble. We get the monk bubble on the warrior, and soon after we force the bubble from the paladin. So both targets are prime for us to kill, and the enemy team does not have many more defensive cooldowns to work through. So at this point, we just need to land one more CC onto the monk, and we'll have an opportunity to get a kill. In points like this, it's important for me to be able to off-heal my teammates when our Resto Druid needs the help, because at this point of the game, as long as we live, we are going to win this game. Now, the two melee DPS on the enemy team do us a huge favor. Our Druid and I are positioned on the other side of the pillar to CC this Mistweaver monk, and our Lock uses Gate. This Mistweaver monk is forced between a rock and a hard place. He either has to let his teammates die by line of sighting, or go for the heal and be instantly purged. Their melee DPS did us a huge favor by not kiting to the other side of the pillar, helping us land that kill in this matchup. In this next matchup, we're playing against Havoc Demon Hunter, Windwalker Monk, and Restoration Shaman. And in the following matchup, I'm going to do something similar that I did previously, and that is guard my Warlock's Gate by going out there and threatening Totem. This time, they don't rush in, so we're okay, and my Warlock's able to get the gate. I don't have to use my Totem right off the bat. Now, I get pressure onto both of the melee, and I immediately go for a Hex on the Shaman. That was kind of dumb on my half, because he's able to just easily lock it, and I go for a follow-up Hex here, but he is able to dispel himself, and he lags a little bit, so I'm not quite able to get the Hex off. So at this point, I'm trying to force damage onto the enemy team, and give a little bit of off heals in the meantime. Now at this point in the matchup, I can see that the two melee DPS are gunning for our healer. I see that he does go into tree form, so I'm throwing a few off heals, but I know he's going to be okay. I land a shear onto the Shaman and follow that up with a full hex onto him. This is going to provide our team some time to recover and get damage off onto the DPS that is not going to be able to be healed by the Restoration Shaman. Now, I do have my Stormkeepers up here, and I want to follow up some damage onto this Demon Hunter, so I'm kind of lining up some procs, and they both stack on top of each other, so I'm able to get the benefit of using Chain Lightning. I'm able to land a totem out to root up the Windwalker Monk and give my druid some breathing room, and this gives us a great opportunity to turn pressure and force damage onto the enemy team. I'm able to go up into this Shaman's face and land a shear, followed up by a Hex, which is going to force some pressure for our team as well too. When you're playing as an elemental shaman and the enemy team clumps up like this in a corner, this is your cue to spam chain lightning and get your lightning rod proccing on all of the targets. You can do massive single target and AoE damage at the same time if the enemy team stacks on top of one another. This is a great opportunity for myself to help our team get ahead in damage and pressure. Now, I drop my Sky Fury totem down and cast my Ice Fury into the Windwalker, which is going to create a lot of pressure for us onto their team's DPS. I end up getting caught by this Earth Grab, and it's important to take it out to not only take the root effect away, but also stop you from getting slowed. On the counter, I'm looking to put a root down onto the Shaman and give myself an opportunity to land a Hex onto him to help us be able to turn the pressure without any heals. After forcing the Hex, I throw a few off heals onto the Restoration Druid, and with the second root onto the melee DPS, I'm going to take this opportunity to go offensive. Using my Stormkeepers, I'm getting damage off. I land a shear onto the Shaman, which forces a lot of pressure onto this Demon Hunter, and we're going to need to see a big cooldown here for them to live, or he is going to die. The Shaman is forced to use his Spirit Link, which means that everyone on their team is now a huge suspect to dying. At this point, the Shaman has quite a lot of dots stacked on top of him, and in this case scenario, I probably could have forced more pressure on their team had we had stuck a little bit more damage here onto the Shaman rather than the DPS, which is something that I was learning going along with this comp. We have a lot of opportunities to kill anyone in the enemy team once we have dots rolling. At this point, now that their team is spread thin, we're going to look back at this Demon Hunter. The Monk uses Karma onto me here, so I know that he doesn't have any defensives left. This is their last push. If we can survive this, we are going to win the game. They have no Karma, they have no Spirit Link, and their melee DPS are very desperate to try to land a kill. I'm able to get this Windwalker Monk cornered behind the pillar and separated from the other two DPS, and our Lock and I are in a great position to close out this game. Our Restoration Druid is able to recover and land a clone onto the Windwalker Monk, which forces his trinket. I am able to go over and help support our Restoration Druid. This Monk has nothing left, and the enemy team is very desperate. I'm using my Stormkeepers and using Chain Lightning onto both DPS behind the pillar, forcing a lot of damage into the enemy team. The Resto Shaman has to come out into a bad spot. I'm able to land a Hex onto him. He does trinket this, but the Windwalker and the Shaman are caught on different sides of the pillar, and the Shaman is now juicy for us to be able to land this kill. We do end up finishing the Restoration Shaman behind the pillar, and it goes to show the power of this comp at being able to rot down an entire team even when the harassment is on from two melee DPS that are highly mobile. For the final match of the night, we are playing against Mage, Priest, Resto Druid, formerly known as God Comp. Now, in this situation, we want to be able to mitigate the amount of CC pressure they can get. Any target on this team is vulnerable, and it depends on where they extend on the map. In the back of my mind, I'm looking for this Druid, and I see him open up right in front of our team. I'm able to stop the Cyclone, which is going to shut down their early pressure, and I have huge damage going into this Mage, which is going to force him to block. Their Priest moving in for a Fear. I'm able to punt him before he gets in position to Fear our healer. We are in a great position, looking strong going into the matchup. Their Druid decides to Displacer Beast in for no reason, which gives us a free opportunity for our Warlock to land major dots onto him. Now, the Priest puts out a Siphene. I'm able to land a dot and purge the shield off, which is going to mitigate that. And the rest of the story has written itself. The Druid with no Displacer Beast gets fully dotted by our Warlock and goes down. A match like this goes to show the power of LSD and how quickly you can ramp up damage onto the enemy team. Just like melee DPS, in this game, their casters decided to overextend and gamble for early CC, and they paid the price with an early block and ultimately the death of the Resto Druid on an early Displacer Beast. Dudes, thank you guys so much for watching the video. I had a ton of fun being able to bust out the Ellie Shaman and the LSD today for my first time playing the composition. It's extremely strong. There's a lot of potential with this comp. For those of you guys that prefer playing casters, if you play any of these three casters, it's a lot of fun. Extremely good comp. Would highly recommend, especially for those of you guys that are playing Elemental Shaman right now. Very dynamic comp. Lots of fun. I'm looking forward to trying it again going into the future. Dudes, I'm out. Thank you guys as always for watching the video. I will catch you guys during the live stream in the afternoon or on the next video. Peace. Keep it easy, everyone. Yo, 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 what's going on, guys? It's Buns. Welcome back to the Road to Gladiator. Tonight, we have an arena gameplay breakdown for Rogue. We're doing 3v3 arenas, and for the first time this expansion, I got to play Thug,